Welcome back to Premium Option, the channel designed to help you learn and profit in the stock market and options trading. So today we have a pretty big video on NIO. NIO recently, today actually, just released their July deliveries for their automobiles or their EV cars. So we're going to be covering that, how that can affect them in the coming days and also the coming weeks. And then we're also going to go over a couple other catalysts that have to do with it and then look at the charts and see where NIO could be going short and medium term. But if you're brand new here, make sure to subscribe and like the channel. That really does help out the channel and we'd really appreciate it. And on top of that, we do have a completely free Discord for you guys, just so that way you can learn more about the stock market, what's going on in the news, the updates of it, everything that has to do with that type of stuff. So if you guys are interested in this, make sure to join down below, and that way you guys can get the free resources in this Discord. Okay, so the first thing that I want to look into is the NIO deliveries provided in July of 2021. So as you can see here, the key highlights are that NIO delivered 7,931 vehicles in July of 2021, which is a year-over-year increase of 124.5%. Now this is really good for NIO. They're just a little under that 8,000 mark, which is not the worst thing, and we could see that they've had a cumulative delivery of all of their vehicles throughout the July timeframe. Now, as far as NIO goes, that is a really good upside for them in their July deliveries, especially year over year. But I do have a couple key concerns that I want to point out to you guys. So if we look at their other competitors, Li Auto, they also just released their July deliveries, and they delivered over 8,589, which is way more than what NIO did. And on top of that, Xpeng, who is another competitor of NIO, also reported that they sold over 8,000 vehicles in July, which they're also up 228%. Now for NIO, that is a little bit concerning because they were the only ones not to crack that 8,000 mark in July. Now, of course, this could be due to a couple of reasons. The biggest one is that a lot of people may be waiting for their new vehicle over in January of 2022, and it's their new sedan, I believe. So people may be waiting to buy their vehicle because they know a new one's coming out in a couple months. And also on top of that, NIO does have more vehicles than their other competitors. And with the chip shortage, that definitely could be a problem for NIO that they could be facing. Now, as far as NIO concerned, it's a really good sign that they're doing very well year over year in July. I mean, they have over 124% gain in just that. But again, with their competitors doing over 8,000 in July as well, that is also something to look into. Now, the last thing news related I want to jump into for NIO is that they still do have a very high price target by many analysts. Now, this is just one of the examples that I'm going to give you guys, but basically the price target that a lot of people are going for is that it's going to go to $64.50, which is a 44% upside. Now, a lot of analysts think it can go even higher, some maybe a little bit lower, but end of the story is a lot of people are still very bullish on NIO. No matter what happens to it, what their deliveries are, it's still a very good stock to own, and it's still a very good stock to speculate on short and long term. So with all of that stuff out of the way, with all of the news out of the way, let's actually look into the charts and see how NIO is doing on the charts, so that way we can get better entries and positions if we're looking to get into NIO, especially before their next earnings or any other plays. So right now we're on the weekly. As you can see, we are off that all-time high by a little bit. Another really important thing that I want to show you guys is a couple things, is that we have a very strong weekly resistance right up here, right at the $50 mark. So we're about, let's say, around $5-6 away from that. And another thing is, if you look at these past two weekly candles, you can see that we had a bullish candle the last week with the long wick to the upside, but now we had a very strong bullish candle with a big wick to the downside, which shows we could have some seller exhaustion. But if we jump down to the daily, we may be able to see that a little bit better. So right here, I have a couple more marked up. So the first thing I want to point out to you guys is that we have this very large downtrend right off of this yellow trend line. And one thing we could be seeing is we could be coming up to that weekly and that big downtrend. So that's a big level for us to get to. Once we get to that $50 mark, it's a very important thing to remember. So I'll get rid of this just to clear up the charts. But another thing to look into is that we still are floating above this 250 EMA, which is basically kind of like our yearly average on the daily chart. And we are closing above this 50 EMA, showing some pretty good bullish signs. We did have this very bearish candle just a few days ago, but now we're moving to the upside, and I think we could see the daily resistance being met at 47.25 by this week. And then after this, it really depends on what we're going to do. If we can break and close above that, I think $50 is definitely another point we can get to. But if we do see some downside potential, honestly, I don't really see NIO closing down below $41 this week, but it's the stock market. Who really knows what's going to happen? So another thing I want to get into is the 1 hour. For any intraday traders, anybody looking to trade this in the next couple days, this is a very key area for NIO. As we can see, we are in a very strong support and resistance zone. It's been having trouble breaking it above and below, so now that we're sitting in this, it's very interesting to see where we're at. It is currently above the 2 moving averages, which is good to see, but we are starting to rise to the oversold or the overbought area on the RSI. So that's also another thing to keep in mind. But we did have some very strong price action. So what I think we can do is we can drop down a little bit more. I think we could drop down a little bit more into this area, maybe see some rejection, maybe some bearish candles, and then have a strong upside back to that $47 mark. And then from there, we're just going to have to speculate, see what the candlesticks are telling us, and just kind of go from there. So that's really everything I had on NIO. There's not a lot of massive news coming out. I just wanted to report on their July deliveries, which could be a very big catalyst because currently we are pre-market in the stock market. So we could see some potential gains in the next couple of days. But again, with them coming short of 8,000 and then not producing or selling as many cars as their competitors, that could also be a bad thing. But again, we do have their earnings coming up in late September, so we're just a couple months away from that. But honestly, I could see us hitting this daily level here pretty soon, and maybe even this weekly level in the next coming weeks. But again, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you found any of this content helpful, please make sure to subscribe and like the video down below. It really does help out the channel. And until the next one, we'll see you guys then. Peace.